Right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash. Give double honors to my elder apostles of GMS in whom the truth resides. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, that's out there teaching this truth from the four corners of the earth and risking your lives for the love of the gospel. Also to you, Aqua, that's learning in silence and being blessed whatever Yahweh Shai may find your hands to do. All right, this is Qam YASHARAHLA from GMS, Indiana / Gary camp. Yeah, I was wanting to put this video up a while back, man, when the Nas X, I say the Nas X, what you call it, wave was going on, man. Before this nigga came out as being a fucking sodomite, okay. Because before, you know, the song he made, you know, had a little controversy, and it's crazy to see how this nigga, because he used Jake to get on, and then once he got on, he came out, you know, he flipped the script, man, which Jake does all the time in this wicked ass society, man. He used something as a positive vibe, man, because already country music is a genre of music that's kind of hard to break into because Esau has dominated it so much, you know, and that could be it's further from the truth, man, because even the term cowboy, you know, used to be a derogatory name, man, shot towards Jake, you know, as a downgrade, just as nigga is. Okay, but this sodomite used the support of Jake, man, to get on. All right, and then after he got on and shit, he came out saying he was a sodomite. All right, after he made his little money and shit, this filthy lucre. All right, then he decides to come out and shit and support this wicked ass kingdom. All right, but in his statement, he was like, you know, he thought he made it obvious. No, nigga, you know you didn't make it obvious. If you'd have made it obvious, man, I think I seen like 3 videos to that song. Okay, one of them you actually had a woman come out talking about fetch me another beer. Why is this beer cold? If you wanted to come out, why didn't you just have a fucking another man in there? It would have made it obvious, you know, cause you used just like Jake do, man. You used the back of it because your people is what supported you, man. Jake was happy as hell. I heard that song every fucking where, man. Strip clubs everywhere, man. Jake supported the shit out of you, and you just used the people. But like I said, you got your you know, get your reward right now, man, because y'all shot got something for your ass. But anyway, you know, it was a reason why I didn't bring this video out back then, because I found out what the real term cowboy how it came to be. Slacker. But you know, so because it wasn't in support of him. It was just that you know, he had made the song, man, and the song hit. And I think another Jake that came out with another little country song. They got a little couple of dances that's being popularized through some country singer. But you know, nevertheless, man, it's the main point is that I wanted to show how where the word cowboy it came from, and I stumbled across this documentary. I'm gonna share with you brothers, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna hit some scriptures. All right, hold on.
where I grew up at. It's real tough. It's a lot of guns, a lot of violence, a lot of drama, and there's a lot of gangs. And there's cowboys, too.
The name gets attention like bomb threats. Let's hear it one time for complex.
What's up, man?
Attention gets thick when he's on next. So let's hear it one time for complex.
My name is Miguel Dominguez. They call me Mikey. And I'm 16. I'm 16 years old. I was born in Dominican Republic and I was raised here in East New York. And I've been a member of the Federation of Black Cowboys now for 3 years. Oh, man.
What people don't know is that the original term cowboy was a derogatory term.
See, the white man was the cattleman. The black man was the cowboy. He used to say, hey, boy, go get that cow there, cowboy.
People that weren't black that were called cowboys, it was an insult. They would call them ranch hands, cow punch, or whatever. But a cowboy was a name exclusively for the black people or the slaves that took care of the cows.
And then but the name got to be so popular that the whites start calling themselves cowboy also. So what became a nickname, what was a nickname for a black, became a popular name for all the cowboys.
So it must have been something about the way the original cowboys did their job that made that term become popular, or it made it be an honor to be a cowboy.
American cowboy that we know today is a culmination of West African heritage and the Spaniards, which the West Africans are herdsmen, and they're still herdsmen today. During the slave era, they were brought here for their herdsmanship. The herdsmen worked their cattle with dogs, sticks, and rocks, and whistling and sounds. And that culmination of those two people put together made the expert horseman. And every third cowboy back in that era was of either Spanish, Indian, or some African descent. That's why they call cowboy.
All right, yeah, and that's the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, man. You know, even back then, you know, I was always, you know, even though the Northern, Southern, and Northern Kingdom don't get along now, some type of way in history, you always seen them two mixing or together, even in slavery, man. Okay, so Yahweh kept that bond between them, man, even though it's rivalry between them now, you know.
Back in those days, a white man would call you boy even if you're 100 years older than him. That's what he would call you boy. So that's why this cowboy come in there. And also the black cowboy, they'd be out on the range. We would do all the work. Whatever's supposed to be done out on the range, well, the black cowboy would do it. But Hollywood would have you believe that there weren't anything but Anglo-Saxon cowboys. It's the rich heritage and history that has been not fairly documented.
Going into Chicago, I saw a sign that said, Black Cowboy, the forgotten man of the West. And after doing research, I always thought when I was growing up, I didn't know anybody but the Long Ranger and Roy Rogers. And kids now are beginning to know the history. But we go to some shows back in the days, they let all the school kids out, and the little black kids would come up to you and feel you and take off running because they had never experienced black cowboys.
From the guys that I've talked to that have told me about the rodeo back in the day when there was the Rodeo Cowboy Association, RCA, which is now known as the PRCA, and it was predominantly white, and you had to be invited in through two of the cowboys that were already there, which had most of the time was two of the white cowboys who invited you in. That brought about some of the associations that were created by blacks, cowboys that worked on ranches, that are on actual working ranches, who created rodeos for themselves. Floyd Frank is on record. I think him and his brother were the first black guys to put on a black rodeo, and that was in the Anahuac
area between Beaumont and Houston?
I always wanted a rodeo arena of my own. And I worked, and then after I got the rodeo arena, I said, well, I need the rodeo stock. I bought the rodeo stock. And I take it in and take them out to different places and rent them out. Sure, you know, they'd have a show. So that was my way of life.
It's been 4 generations in this family of Franks. 4 generations of cowboys. Rodeo promoters, horse trainers, calf ropers, any of the parts that you would play in a rodeo.
Black cowboys would come from a long ways. When I was coming up, we had 1 rodeo a year. That was on Easter Sunday. And the rest of the time, we was out on the ranch working cattle and stuff. So the issue of segregation.
Yeah, my grandfather had a small small. It's funny because the area that he had his farm in was actually called Small Farm. That's a part of Gary that most of the new people that migrated were doing the Great Migration from the South had migrated into Gary. That was the first place they got. Well, really, that was the only area of Gary they would like to let you live in. It was called Small Farms. It was kind of rural area of Gary. It was land. Some of it was marshland. You had to do a lot of work to you had to cultivate, which Jake always had to, make something out of nothing. And my grandfather had small, he had a little farm. It's just, I'm trying to use the words because the area was called Small Farms, but he had a little plot of land. And he had him a little farm, and a horse. He had horses, and my grandfather had mostly all girls, and I had 2 uncles. It was just 2 boys. They was the youngest. They turned out to really be kind of messed up. Drugs took them over in the late '60s, early '60s, and the '70s. And my grandfather had built one of my uncles. He was into cars. He built him an automotive shop, and so when the highway I-65 came through, my grandfather actually made a lot of money. And my grandfather was Gad, by the way. He it was on my mother's side though. It was my mother's father. And when the I-65 highway came in, he made a nice little piece of change, and was able to buy property more inland in Gary. All right, but I kind of came up around animals and stuff. Well, I was a baby, but I was familiar with animals because once they moved, my grandmother and my mother used to take me back to Small Farm, where our farm used to be at.
In rodeos was true, so that made us have backyard rodeos. Midnight rodeos, so to speak. And when we had midnight rodeos, I was taught to excel in whatever I tried to do. And I was taught that way by segregation. Whereas segregation said to us in our school, our instructor said back then, you'd have to be twice as good as the white man to make it in this world.
Man, that's what I was saying that for, because that's what my grandfather always said to his girls. He said, raise your sons, they're gonna have to. My mother actually told me that statement because I was the darkest child out of all my brothers and sisters. My mother said, I had to work twice as hard because I was gonna be basically. She used to try to say it in a nice way, but because I was already self-conscious because I was dark, but and I was also the darkest kid of all my brothers and sisters. So she was basically saying that you would have to work twice as hard because you're going to be stigmatized, or I guess, I'm going to be fucked with by the police. She was basically trying to, I can't really put the words in how she said it, but yeah, that was relevant to my life, what he just said.
Which doesn't ordinarily hold true. But it was a concept they would give us, making us the incentive to motivate our thinking personally.
Only thing I wanted to do was be the best. It wasn't trying
to beat somebody just because I was black and they were white. It was riding with the best, because at the black rodeos, the guys that rodeoed there were just as tough as the guys that rodeoed anywhere else.
Black cowboy didn't have much of a chance. I was nothing but a little kid. I remember Rufus Green. They used to come with some white guys, you know. And if you didn't run with a white man that had trucks and trailer, you couldn't go nowhere. And those that was around the country, they had to back their horse in the truck in the ditch like this here and jump their horse in the back of the truck to make it to a rodeo.
My daddy's first cousin name was Leo Frank, and he owned a mule that he called Honeysucker that knew how to do all kinds of tricks. And in 1953, he bought a brand new 53 Pontiac 4-door and took the back seats out of it, and he would put that mule in the back seat of that car and haul him all the way up to Oklahoma, and they would hire him as a bullfighter at these rodeos like this. But when they saw that he could ride a bareback horse and he could ride a bull or he could rope like that, they would let him participate. And he was good friends with a lot of rodeo cowboys. So when you was liked amongst the white guys, you wasn't discriminated against. But if you was just an outsider coming in and you were really good and they saw that you was a real competitor, that's where the problem came in at.
Rodeoing back in the days, it was just a part of life. Like I say, it wasn't the cowboys. The prejudice side was the town that you went to right here in Texas. And Murtis Dykeman, I guess, was the first that started blacks to riding with whites, because they sent a newscaster in a little town in Alice, Texas, to do a story. He was new on a bull called Yellow Fever that had nobody ever ridden. And he thought he had lost his job. He didn't see Yellow Fever. He went to the stock producer and say, "Hey, they told me Yellow Fever was coming out tonight." He said, "Yeah, but he going after the rodeo." And that's what it was. Blacks would always ride after the rodeo. They sent everybody home, then they would let the black cowboys ride. And then Murtis Dykeman rode the bull. Yellow Fever had to ride about 16, 17 seconds. And the next day in the newspaper in Alice, Texas, it was out that Yellow Fever had been riding. People in Alice, Texas, they almost stormed the RCA because they say, we felt like we were deprived the best part of the rodeo to see somebody ride Yellow Fever. So this got the attention of the RCA. And when they say that anytime a black man would ride after a rodeo, it had to be two whites ride after the rodeo too. And that's what the whites didn't want to ride after rodeo, so they said, let's let them rodeo with us. And Murtis Dykeman was the first one that did this, but Willie Thomas was the guy that never got the credit because he came along way before time for the black cowboys. He's the one that really broke the ice for black cowboys.
Well, he started at the A.P. George's ranch when he was rodeoing back when he was a feeder. He was brave enough to jump down on him and start just riding him with no hands. So that's what led him into rodeoing. And the first time he was out in a rodeo, I think he won a third. He never bucked off a bull, not in a long time. I think he rode about 50 or 60 bulls in a row before he ever got bucked off. Back in the 50s, I remember he was in the top 20 in the professional rodeoing. Back then, they wouldn't draw right. They gave him the baddest bull. They thought he'd never been rode. And then they started letting him ride during the show. A couple of shows he had to go to, it was so racial, and he had to have, pull his hat way down on his face, and they couldn't tell who he really was. So he had to sneak in and ride. And then once he got on his bull and rode his bull, after whatever he did, whether he rode or got thrown. And so he had to hurry up and get out of there because it was so bad. But that's just the way it was back then. He couldn't do nothing about it.
I grew up on a ranch. My dad was a cowboy. My grandfather was a cowboy. And his dad was a cowboy. I started rodeoing at the age of 15. I started going to rodeos, black rodeos. Then I wanted to go to white rodeos. When I was in the 70s, 71, I tried to enter some rodeos and they wouldn't let me enter some of them because I was black. When you drive 100 miles to a rodeo and they tell you can't ride, and that kind of discourages you. You know, you want to quit.
Segregation, yeah, it was in the late 60s, 64. But in the rodeo, it was all the way up until almost the early 80s. And further than that, where you really seen segregation was still there.
I had a cousin named Tex Williams that kind of broke the color barrier for me. He was able to get into some rodeos that I couldn't get into. Even in the 70s, in 68, 69, I couldn't get in.
I was born and raised on a ranch, and all I knew was cattle and horses. After I got 13, 14, I started competing in amateur rodeos. Finally, they integrated high school rodeos, and I always wanted to go to one of the high school rodeos. For the people that we worked for, my dad would take the horses and stuff to these rodeos for the kids, and I would be there with him. And I would always wonder why I couldn't rodeo. And he told me that it just wasn't your time, you know. And so it just, I guess about 66, I made my first rodeo in Sinton. I was a little afraid. At every high school rodeo I went to except one, it was only one African-American, and that was me. In 66, I went to 5 high school rodeos, and I placed first in all 5. As far as being, I would say, the first black to do this, which I was in high school. I mean, I do know when integration was. There wasn't any black cowboys going to high school final. And up until I rode, not anyone made it.
I started off with the local rodeos, and I went professional. I got a permit in the Professional Rodeo Association. And I saw how the cowboys were getting, the black cowboys were getting treated. And I had a different avenue. I had going to college to Prairie View. I graduated in 1972. And what I did, I formed an association along with Murtis Dykeman called the All-American Rodeo Association. And this was an association where we had rodeos and gave scholarships away. And it quit somewhere around the mid-80s.
It was just the tone of the environment at that time. It was just those people didn't necessarily want us to achieve or want us to be equal to them or feel equal to them. That was just the nature of the beast at that time. These gentlemen had the heart and the desire and the will to keep doing what they knew they had to do, what they were able to do, and no matter what, you couldn't suppress their skill and their ability and their willingness to achieve championship and to develop champions even in us. So they kept on driving no matter what.
They wanted to be.
Hey, that's beautiful, because he said, you know, they wanted to suppress the achievement of Jake. And that brings to mind, the scripture. All right. Go to, I think it's Ecclesiastes. Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 10:14. He said, every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For the molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity. They are vanity and their work and their works. They are vanity and the work of their error, and in the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them. Okay, now this, I probably read up a little too much, but really I didn't, because this is Esau. Esau is but this is talking about idols. But Esau is a brutish man, and I looked up the word brutish. I think it means to false. It said to false. Okay, where is that? Brutish. Okay, this is in the blue letter. Brutish. He says 1. He says to burn, to consume, to kindle, be kindled, to begin to burn. Where does this go down? It says okay, here we go. 1. He said to kindle, to burn, to consume, to remove of guilt, figuratively. To kindle, to burn, to consume, to destroy. All right, and that's what they tried to do. They tried to destroy Jake's dream, you know, as being a cowboy. That's like they covered the faces of the judge of Yahweh Shah, You know what I'm saying? They try to cover the faces of the West. You know, because when my dad used to take us out when I was younger. You know, what's his name? Clint Eastwood was real popular in the movies. He was very Fistful of Dollars, Good, Bad, and Ugly, and all these cowboy movies used to be out. And when he used to take us to the drive-in, this is all you seen. You didn't see black cowboys back then. But as you see earlier, the guy he said Hispanics, and not Hispanics, but Issachar, and a lot of Issachar was in those movies. Matter of fact, Issachar was in Good, Bad, and Ugly. The other guy that was his partner, he used to call Clint Eastwood Blondie. Okay, so it was Jake was all in throughout the West, man. Okay. Well, let me read that. So I looked up the word brutish. Okay, it says remove. Okay, verse 15. He said they are vanity. They are vanity, and the work of them of error. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. All right, and that's when the Yahushua come. All right, verse 16. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the form of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Right. So Jacob is the form of all things, man. So it's no wonder that we lay the foundation for everything. You know, like I mentioned Nas X, you know, about the country music. Country music is nothing but a faster pace of blues, faster pace of music, and you add a few more instruments. Basically, it's blues, man. So you know, we're the foundation of everything that's made in this earth, man. All right. So let me finish playing some more of this.
Be a cowboy, and that's what they wanted to do, and they knew if they persevered, they would eventually be champions.
There's a lot of black cowboys.
Man, that's beautiful. He said if he persevere, hey man, just like this truth, man. As long as as long as we keep running the race, man, because it's not who the scripture says not to the fast, to the swift. It says you who can I don't want to butcher it. He said, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. He said, so run that ye may obtain. All right. And every man that striveth for mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible crown. All right. So like the brother just said, man, all we have to do is persevere, man. All right? Keep on the course, man. Don't try to live above that means, man. As a matter of fact, let me go and play this other part because these brothers going to pray, man. This prayer is tight. It's Jake all day.
Never seen a dream that a black man would win a world championship. And in 1982, Charlie Sampson was the first professional black bull rider. And Fred Whitfield, he won 6 or 7 titles and an all-around title, so it wasn't all in vain.
We learned from those guys' tenacity of our fathers and our forefathers of overcoming whatever adversity we had to still be championship cowboys, no matter what, not let anybody hold us back. And champions in whatever you do, whether it's a cowboy or not. When you see these type of men and these men who endure this type of discrimination and people trying to hold them back, there's no excuse for us not to achieve in anything we do.
So it's just that simple. You got to want to do anything to do it. And if you want to do it and be good at it, you can do it.
Dear Heavenly Father,
yes, Lord,
we are paused in the midst of this occasion.
Oh, yes.
Giving honor and thanks to Thee for making it possible.
Oh, yes.
You're the guided light.
Yes.
And you can make it shine in the very, very darkness of night.
Yes.
For all the things you can do, dear God, as a black cowboy.
Yes.
We'll ask no special favors.
Yes.
Not to break a barrier in a time event.
Yes.
We ask that you not draw us a horse.
Yes.
Or send you to win.
Yes.
But whatever you do, dear God, Don't make us above normal.
Yes.
While we might ride a bull, it's never been rode.
Yes.
But give us the strength.
Oh, yeah.
To perform.
Yes.
In the best of our ability.
Yes.
And we make that last ride.
Yes.
Oh, yes, Lord. Let it be the ride in your kingdom. These blessings we ask in your name. Let us all say amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Then this morning when I woke, I felt a change. And looking toward the west, I saw clouds fill the sky. And soon the lightning and the boom of thunder.
Yeah, you brothers can get the what's the name to you know, to that video. The address is in the address bar right here. But yeah, man, then I wanted to play this other little clip, man, because this nigga, what's his name? Nelly, man, came to bat for this nigga. Hold on.
I want to save money.
How much money?
A lot of money.
Not a problem. During the Best Buy for...
First of all, what do you think of that Lil Nas X song? And it's kind of interesting to me as a fan. I just look at it and think of you as kind of paving the way for that type of crossover to happen.
Well, I think first of all, you know, I congratulate anybody that has any type of success in this business. I'm never the one to be like, yo, that song shouldn't be a hit, because, you know, if you have fans, if you touch people in a manner to where they feel they want to support you, I think it's awesome. I think the way that they kind of tried to take him off of a certain genre of music, I think that was BS. Yeah. You know, because obviously for him to even make it on to country charts, first of all, you have to be requested. The only way you get requested is by people who are listening to that radio station calling in saying, boom, you know, saying you're not getting hip hop artists calling into a country station.
Right, saying play the song.
Saying play this song. You know what I mean? Like that's not what's happening. Yeah. You're getting country fans calling in on country radio requesting the song. So in order for his song to move up, it had to be getting requested by those fans. Right. So I think in that respect, it makes that song relevant in that space. So I think that was BS, man. And you know, I send nothing but love and respect out to the homie, you know, and I know he's recently came full circle with who he wants to be in life and who he is. And I send out blessings to him for that, and I compliment him on his courage.
Right. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, Nelly, well, since you complimenting the nigga on his courage, all that bullshit, the Lord gonna compliment your ass. All right, yeah, because see, this is just the ignorance of Jake, man. This is 1 Thessalonians 5 and 22. All right, he says, abstain from all appearances of evil, man. And see, we of men of the Lord, man, don't condone nothing that's against the scriptures, man. Me and my son did a video a couple of months back, guilty by association, which is going to be a lot of Jake's downfall, man. Okay? Because they condone shit that they have, because they have adopted the American way over here in this, well, I'll say the Babylon way, all right? Because they think just, hey, man, like he just said, I get big ups to the homie and his achievements. All right, man, that's some bullshit, man, because he did it off the backs of Jake. Again, he used Jake, and then he turned it, and then you turning your back on the Lord, man, because Jake knows that what they doing is wicked, man. But they do everything and shit for the supporting of this motherfucking devil in his wicked ass kingdom. All right, and he's gonna, like I said earlier, man, he's gonna get his just cause, man. All right. Let me get one more scripture. This is Ecclesiasticus. It's like it. Ten and 7. Okay. 10 and 6. All right. It says, folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. Right, man? Because us are being rich, because we're rich in faith, man, and rich in and royalty of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. All right, we're the men that are supposed to be uplifted, man. All right, which is soon to come. You know, us riding, you got kids out here, man, that's afraid of animals, man, afraid of horses. My grandkids are not raised around, my son met a chick the other day. He took over to her house and she had dogs, and my grandkids were scared of them, But Jake doesn't have the luxury to, to have animals or to, be around. Because for one, Jake he has to work all the damn time, man. So, it would be good, to introduce your kids to animals or take them to a petting zoo and stuff, man, because basically everything is supposed to be subdued up under us. All right. All right. This verse 7. He said, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. And that's us. All right. You see these wicked ass Edomites and shit. And like I said, like the brothers were saying, man, in all the rodeos, you know what I'm saying? But Jake always is the cowhand or the cowboy, which is a derogatory statement, but it has been lifted up, man, to actually be a word. Like he said, it was a derogatory statement, and now he turns around and call himself a cowboy. Because Jake made the term cool. Which Jake always take everything derogatory, man, and turn it around, man. Like Jake call each other nigga, like, but we don't deal like that in GMS. But Jake took the word nigga and started putting it in the songs, which made it fashionable. And now you got Edomites running around, what's up, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? He takes everything. Jake is a salt of the earth, man. All right. And see, we're the princes, man, should be sitting up on horses, and them days is coming, man. All right. He said, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and that's Esau. And whosoever breaketh the hedge of hedge, a serpent shall bite him. Right, and Esau is the one that broke that hedge, man. Our hedge of what, man? Our heritage, the hedge of protection around of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. But putting up that blonde head, blue eyed devil, man, and breaking the heritage and breaking the covenants of our Lord and Savior, man, giving you Christianity and all this other bullshit ass wine that our people are drunk off of, man. All right, but hey, man, them days are over with, man. But I thought this was an edifying documentary, man, and so I chose to do a sit down on it, man. That brothers know where the term cowboy actually came from, and man, to condemn this fucking nigga Nas X, man, Yahweh Shai got a special judgment for your ass. You too, Nelly. All right. With that, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS. Peace and blessings to you, Aquath. That's out here preaching this, that's out here learning inside us, whatever Yahweh Shai may find your hands to do. And you brothers that's out here preaching this truth for the love of the gospel, risking your lives, man. All right. Shalom until next time.